Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Sinead DeFries, and this is The Daily Show, where we bring you the latest news from the world of movies, plus some insight into what it all means. Joining us, as always, is your editor-in-chief for AMC Movie News, John Campea.
Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, coming to you live from right here at the AMC Movie News headquarters here in Burbank, California, and we are so glad to finally be back in studio.
Yes, also here is AMC production manager, Dennis Sen.
Yeah, very busy and exhausting week. IAW TV, NAB, NMX, Vegas, Star Wars Celebration, the trailer, all that stuff.
And AMC's lovely Miss Alicia Malone.
I'm so tired. But all good things.
Hey guys, for those of you who don't know, we just spent, you probably saw some of our videos, but we just spent the last couple days in Vegas attending for several reasons. But one of the big reasons, of course, was for the Academy of Web Television Awards last night, where we were nominated for 3 awards, Best Pre-Recorded Host, Best Live Host, and Best Live Series. AMC Movie Talk was up for Best Live Series, and AMC Movie Talk won. Woo! We won Best Live Series. We got a picture here of last night of when we got to go up on stage. We had, Wendy was there, Maud, Alicia, obviously, Amy Rose, Dennis, myself, Sinead, Ashley. We all went up and accepted the award, and we were so excited. Then let's take a look at this. We got some of our pictures taken on the red carpet afterwards. I adore this picture.
We're such dorks.
I mean, we are. I love this picture. That one is fantastic. So this is the second year in a row that AMC Movie Talk has been awarded with the IAW TV, and we're really, really excited and thankful to you guys for all your support and everything. And yeah, we just wanted to throw that out there. So with that out of the way, let's get on with the show.
Yesterday, the Star Wars Celebration event kicked off in Anaheim, California. A panel discussion took place with J.J. Abrams and Kathleen Kennedy discussing the new film. They were later joined by several of the cast of the film and concluded the session by premiering the new trailer. Star Wars The Force Awakens hits AMC theaters on December 18th. John, what did you think about the new trailer, and what did you learn from the panel discussion?
It's so good. It's so good. It's so good. It's so good. Look, I liked the first trailer that we got in November. I liked it very much, but it didn't blow my socks off. And at the time I said, hey, this is just the first teaser. For a first teaser, it's really good. It's good. Whatever. It's good. This was awesome. Absolutely awesome. Really what captured my feelings and emotions where Dennis and I and Ray just watched this video of Matthew McConaughey reacting.
Yes.
Did you see that?
That was so good.
That
From
is one of the funniest things.
And I imagine that's what your face looked like.
That was pretty
just
much
holding
it.
the TV at the end.
The first time I saw that trailer, I'm like, oh my. It's really Star Wars again, finally. I have been waiting 20 years, 25 years, whatever, for real Star Wars to be back again, and this nailed it. Now, Dennis and I made, we had 2 reaction videos go up yesterday, one with Dennis and I, one with Christian and Mark. And in the one that Dennis and I did, I mentioned that line that Luke says, he goes, the Force runs strong in my family. My father has it, my sister has it, or I have it, my sister has it, and you have it. And I said, well, that is directly the line from Return of the Jedi. And to a point it is. But what some people online pointed out to me was like, wait a minute, John, the last part of that statement when he says, you have that power too. That is different. So who he's talking to there, I'm not sure. But the view of the Millennium Falcon, even they did so many classic Star Wars things visually. The TIE Fighter chases the Millennium Falcon, and it goes into the exhaust pipe, the thruster port of the Super Star Destroyer, and it does the whole turn on its side to squeeze through a thin spot while lasers flying. It's so classic Star Wars. I just ate it up. I ate it up. I absolutely loved this trailer. Now, about the panel that everybody made so much fuss about. I was very disappointed that I couldn't get to it. There was just no way I was going to be able to get back from Vegas to there in time for that. It just wasn't going to happen. And I was very disappointed. But as soon as I got back, I sat down and I watched the panel online, and I'm actually really glad I didn't go. On the one hand, the energy in that room was incredible. You can just tell. And it's available online. You guys can look that up and find it. The energy in the room was incredible. But DJ Nerdy White Dude, whatever his name was, trying to get people to throw their hands in the air for, it's like, okay, this is kind of sad. Actually, it was moderated by this dude from EW whose name I cannot remember, but I thought he did a really good job moderating. But by the end of it, and it's cool that they brought the new Stormtroopers outfits. That was cool. They brought out, Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher, and that was cool, but it felt like they were there for 5 minutes. Like Mark Hamill made 1 or 2 statements, and Carrie Fisher made like 1 or 2 statements. Anthony Daniels was born to be on stage, so he was like the dominant guy there. which is pretty cool. But ultimately, I realized when it was all said and done, I realized I didn't feel all that thrilled with it. And then I realized why. That whole panel, we only learned one thing. That desert planet isn't Tatooine. It's a planet called Jakku. That's it. By the end of that panel, I did not know one more thing about Star Wars: The Force Awakens that I knew before it started. It was still cool to see. All other things being, it would have been cool to be in the room because I had a press pass that I wouldn't have had, but I certainly wouldn't have gone the night before. It wasn't worth it, in my opinion, to stand in line the night before or stand in line for 3 or 4 hours to find out one thing, and to see some of the classic guys on stage for 2 minutes. You know, that disappointed me, but who cares? That trailer, man, that trailer was so effing good. I haven't been this excited about Star Wars in forever, and it just so rekindled. I'm sorry, I've gone on long enough. Dennis, you saw the trailer. I'm sure you saw at least parts of that panel, but anyway, your thoughts on the trailer and the panel.
You and me did the trailer review yesterday, and yeah, there was a lot of, not controversy, but discussion about that Luke Skywalker voiceover, and I think someone had taken bits from the Return of the Jedi and overlaid it, and I think it is actually from Return of the Jedi. They just somehow mixed it or edited it, and maybe that last line is new. But
I have to look into it because maybe that was there too.
Yeah, but I think it is directly pulled from there. Yeah, I love the trailer. I think it's fantastic. The first teaser trailer, we would have gone like crazy for it anyways, just because of the music and seeing the Millennium Falcon and all that stuff. But in this one, we actually got to see like really cool shots. And the one thing I like, I mean, obviously we love the Han Solo and Chewie moment.
Oh my God.
Which is fantastic. But I noticed like the way they edited that scene was actually really clever. Is they show the Millennium Falcon going into the messed up Star Destroyer, and then they fade to black. And then you hear Harrison Ford say Chewie before it comes up. It fades in. So you subconsciously, you know it's Han Solo.
Oh, yeah.
Then you see Han Solo. It's almost like they did that on purpose for the live audience. And all the stuff. We didn't even talk about the Chrome Trooper yesterday in our review at all.
How cool was that?
People are speculating maybe that's Gwendolyn Christie. We talked about this shot over here.
Yep.
Like, who is that figure in the
that tiny little figure right in the back there standing. Where's my finger? There it is. Right there. That guy. Who dat? That's what I want to know.
So who's in charge of these stormtroopers? There's so many things. What else? People were mentioning it online. How come every time we see John Boyega in these trailers, he's always like freaking out
and out of breath?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, lots of action. Must be lots of action.
As far as the panel is concerned, I have not seen the panel because after I dropped you off from Vegas,
I did go to Celebration.
I drove down to Celebration. I shot. Me and Jonathan shot a Jedi Council, which you guys should all watch. We shot it with Christian, Maud, and Ellis, and we went to the hotel room, edited it, came back. You know,
you had a long day.
I haven't seen anything. The only thing I got to see was what was that called? The BB-8 or
the BB-8? Yep.
That thing is cool.
That blew my mind when that thing came out on stage.
It's not CG.
No, it's not CG. I'm sure from the first trailer when it's moving at like 60 miles an hour. You're not going to tell me that's not a bit of CG, but like just seeing it function and practically move and work is like that's pretty.
It's like cool. Defying physics, because I can understand how the ball rolls, but then the head stays on and moves without falling off.
Yeah, Alicia, your thoughts on I haven't talked to you about the trailer or anything at all, but you're not the giant Star Wars nerd at the table, so I'm really curious about somebody from your perspective. You saw the trailer, your thoughts on it.
Well, firstly, there's been 2 times in the last week where I genuinely thought I was going to die. First, flying into Vegas during
we got to tell that story sometime. That's horrible.
Second time, driving back with Maud Garrett, who was speeding to get to Star Wars Celebration, driving as fast as she could, while I was holding the trailer up for her to watch. And she was going towards this truck that was going really slowly, and she was just watching the trailer, and she was crying, and I was like, watch out. And I'm sure I ruined her experience for her, but I was just really terrified and a little car sick. So finally, when I got home, I was like, okay, I'm going to watch this trailer. And I thought it was a fantastic trailer. You know, I might not get all the Easter eggs involved, but I think that's what JJ does really well, in that he proved that with Star Trek, that you don't have to be a super fan and get everything everything in order to enjoy it. It still made it really exciting. The Han and Chewie moment was great, but what I absolutely loved about the trailer was everyone's reactions to it. Because I think that's so rare these days for people to have such genuine emotion about a trailer and about a film series. There's the nostalgia factor, the excitement. To see grown men cry was actually really touching. And that's what I liked about the panel. When I got home, I watched the whole thing, and I didn't think I would be interested in it. But I loved it because for me, sometimes Star Wars can be this really exclusive world. If you don't know everything about the expanded universe, the comics, the books, the prequels, everything, if you're just a super casual fan, like I enjoyed the first 3 movies. If for me, sometimes I feel like you can't sit with us if you don't know every single detail we're talking about. So I can't get.
We almost didn't let you sit at this table today.
Yeah,
we talked
luckily
about it.
You did. Yeah, you're like, are you really allowed to be here talking about Star
It's
Wars?
a great T-shirt though, so okay, you can be.
Psycho. That's why I've spoken to you about having some kind of Star Wars 101 type situation show.
Oh, yeah.
Something that could teach someone like me more about it. But the panel to me felt like a true celebration, and it felt like a coming together of fans, whether you are a casual fan or a super hardcore fan. And the love for the series that people have, it's inspiring.
Yeah, one of the things I should mention too is like I was talking about how the panel. Hey, I'm actually kind of glad I didn't stand in line long and get in that to go in there because JJ was great. Kathleen Kennedy was wonderful. They both said a lot of things that the audience wanted to hear, which was great. But nothing. But once again, to me, it was just that they didn't say anything
You wanted more like
new
news.
Yeah, give us a
stuff.
little context. Like, don't give the movie away, but this is Star Wars Celebration. Give us a little context, and the whole hour-long thing. That desert planet's not Tatooine.
Although the practical effects and practical
But
sets.
we kind of knew all that already.
Yeah.
He's talked about that. He's done interviews about
Maybe
that.
I haven't heard a lot about that before, because for me that was like, oh, that's really cool.
And
I
it
didn't
is
know
cool.
that.
Yeah, it is really cool. But like I said, they were just saying a lot of things that the audience wanted to hear. True stuff.
Yep.
But it was like, I wish they just gave us a little bit more. Just a little bit more. But
Yeah,
who
I think
cares?
most
It was all
people-
about
yeah,
the
I think
trailer.
most people
Young
go
Padawan.
Yeah.
not just for the information though. I mean, they want that communal experience. They want everyone else there. If you guys followed Christian's Instagram, there's a picture of him, and we put in the Jedi Council episode. It's them crying. It's
Yeah.
him and Mark, and those are
love
not
that.
fake tears. Those are real
yeah.
tears.
That's
Oh, yeah.
so sweet.
Manly
Amy Rose
tears.
was crying when she saw R2-D2 come out on
right.
stage.
Yes,
when
she did. She was so
watching the
happy.
panel.
Well, we had
At
all of us.
breakfast.
There was 8 of us. We were all sitting having breakfast together in
Not
Vegas.
talking to each other.
And the panel starting. So Amy Rose has it open on her phone, and R2 comes on stage, and Amy Rose starts
She's like,
crying.
beep, boop, 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 beep,
I
boop, boop,
know, I
beep,
was
boop,
like-
boop, beep, beep, so cute. I was like,
And then
that
John
is
made fun
really
of her.
sweet.
No, Alicia's not
jest.
kidding. She was just sitting there, like watching it, and then just go like she was talking to R2. She's like, beep, bop, beep, beep,
genuine.
beep, bop, beep, bop, beep, bop. I'm like, are you really gonna keep doing that?
So sweet.
And then
though.
BB-8 came out, and she started doing it again. Oh, he's so cute. Beep, bop, beep, beep, bop. It was pretty good. All right. Let's move on. What's next?
In the midst of the wild response to Star Wars trailer has received online, another major trailer was leaked. The first trailer for Batman v Superman made its way onto the internet yesterday, giving us our first glimpse into the feel and look of the film. Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice will hit AMC theaters on March 25th, 2016. John, did you like the first trailer for Batman v Superman?
Yes, I did. Look, first of all, I'm always a little bit torn talking about things that are leaked. I prefer just to talk about things that the studio itself puts out, in the quality that it should be seen as put out, on the timing that the studio wants, because it's their movie. However, this spread like wildfire last night, and I just kind of felt like, I talked to Dennis about it too, just kind of felt like we'd be sticking our heads in the sand and living in a pretend land if we didn't address it today. So with all that being said, here we go. I would recommend waiting to watch this trailer until you can see it in its true, studio release HD thing, not a handycam thing. Now, I say that on one hand, and I say on the other hand, this trailer is far better than I was expecting. It is far more than I was expecting. There are such great lines in this trailer. Lines like, oh, I love this. You hear Lex Luthor talking, he says, devils don't come from hell beneath us. They come from the sky. I mean, it's like, oh, and then they show that image of Superman floating there in front of the clouds, like a messianic figure floating there and whatever. Beautifully shot. Then one of my favorite lines is you hear Jeremy Irons as Alfred talking about Bruce. Yeah. And he says this line, that's how it starts. The fever, the rage, the feeling of, and then only the way Jeremy Irons can enunciate, powerlessness. That turns good men cruel. And you know he's talking about Bruce. He's not talking about a villain. He's talking about Bruce. And then, of course, the big line, you hear Bruce, you hear Batman talking to Superman in what I can only describe as an awesome Batman voice, because it was deep and growled, but perfectly enunciated. You can perfectly understand what he's saying. And he says to him, "Tell me, do you bleed? You will." And I'm like, oh my God, this is awesome. Look, is it as good as the Star Wars trailer we got yesterday? No, but I'll tell you this, it's better than this is the first teaser, and it's better than Star Wars' first teaser. I'll tell you that right now, it is. And you know, I live and die by Star Wars, but this first teaser is better than that. This trailer painted a picture for us of what we can expect from this movie. It painted a picture of the tone and the world that this is going to be. And I'm telling you right now, while they may not end up being as good as Christopher Nolan's movies, they may be far below them in quality. In terms of heaviness and darkness and how dark the soul of Batman is, this is going to make Christopher Nolan's Batman look like Sesame Street. Because when you hear Jeremy Irons talking about Batman, it's like, it turns them cruel. You know Batman. That's the thing. What The Dark Knight Returns, the comic book, did for us is it introduced us to a Batman who wasn't just a crime fighter and more than just a vigilante. He is a living nightmare. He will make you go to therapy for the rest of your life should you cross him or whatever. His goal is to strike terror and fear into people and those who stand opposed to him. And that line that Jeremy Irons says, and then the line he says to Superman, look, the movie may suck. It might. But as far as a trailer goes, and far as what direction they're going with this, and in terms of the broad strokes they're painting this picture with, I ate this up. I loved it. Bruce, Ben Affleck, I've been saying it since day one. He's going to be an awesome Batman. This is going to be incredible. Yesterday was a great day to be a film fan. You can tell how happy I am. Anyway, Dennis, you saw the Batman v Super 1. Terribly poor quality, but your thoughts on it?
I also don't like watching these leaked things. However, since it was such big news, I mean, people were posting, like we were posting pictures from Vegas, our Vegas trip that had nothing to do with anything, but yet people were posting the teaser trailer link on those pictures. I was like, okay, I better watch it. Yeah, I think it looks great. Looks fantastic. We remember when we initially did our Ben Affleck Batman casting video, I talked about the one thing I was concerned about, because I was okay with it. He wasn't my first choice, but I was fine with him being cast, was his voice as Batman. I was worried that, okay, he's going to go crazy like Christian Bale and do, or is his voice going to be normal? Because Ben Affleck has a very distinct voice, and it's not really a Batman-type voice. And the one we heard in the trailer, it's deeper, but it sounded modulated. It sounded like there was some sort of, like he was speaking through some sort of electronic box with it. And I'm wondering, is he going to do that with the suit? Or is he going to do that through the regular one, like his regular suit? Because when he was talking, it was when he had the kind of mechanical suit on.
Alicia, your thoughts?
I was interested by it. I don't know if it made me that excited, but I'm interested in the direction that they're taking, hearing all those different voices, talking about Superman and talking about Batman, and I like that image where it said false god.
Oh, yeah.
So I think it's really intriguing. I'm just one of the few people who, maybe I'm just an idiot, but I was confused. I'm like, why is Batman bad all of a sudden? Mm-hmm. Why does he want to make Superman bleed? Aren't they both good guys? So, I mean, I will obviously learn why when I watch the film, but for me, I was like, I don't understand. It's just a shame that it leaked, though, for people who want to go and see it in the cinema and have that big screen experience, because I imagine hearing all those voices in that surround sound would be awesome.
All right, folks, we've reached that part of the show for buy or sell. Here's how this works. In front of her, Sinead's got a few other items in the world of movie news. She's going to run them down. And those of us at the table are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So, Sinead, what do we got?
According to reports, actor Ryan Gosling is currently in talks to star in the upcoming Blade Runner sequel with original star Harrison Ford. The story is said to take place several decades after the original, but there are currently no details on who Gosling's character might be. Dennis, would you buy or sell Ryan Gosling in the Blade Runner sequel?
I'd buy it. Last week, I actually sold him in the Haunted Mansion movie, the one Guillermo del Toro one, because I didn't think it was a right fit. But this one, I feel he's a great fit for, and especially with the director Denis Villeneuve. I don't know how to pronounce it. Who directed Prisoners, which I love. I think he could be like either a replicant that's like either hunting Harrison Ford or being hunted by Harrison Ford. So I think he can fit nicely into that world.
Alicia?
They should make replicants who look like Ryan Gosling. Great. I buy it. Gosling is such an interesting actor, and he's a lover of directors. Denis Villeneuve, however you say it, is such an interesting guy. Prisoners, Enemy, I think he's a perfect fit for this. And I've heard on the grapevine that the script is fantastic for this movie, so I can't wait. And Gosling, I think, chooses really interesting, good projects. He doesn't just do things for the whim. So I'm excited. Bye.
I am, while I sell a Blade Runner sequel, whatever at this point, I got to buy Gosling being attached to it. He is a tremendous talent. You're right. I think the best word here is fit. I think his style will fit very well in with we haven't seen the film yet, so we don't know, but if you're going to take the original film into consideration, I think the style that Gosling brings will fit very well with the style of a Blade Runner film. So yeah, I got to make this a buy as well. All right, what's next?
Fletch may still live. According to a story in The Hollywood Reporter, the film rights to the Fletch novels, which were the basis for the Chevy Chase movies, have moved from Warner Brothers over to Relativity Media. Wasting no time, Relativity has announced that they are going into development into new Fletch films with actor Jason Sudeikis, who has been attached to the potential project for some time now, taking over the character made famous by Chase. It's said that this film will be based on the 8th novel in the series called Fletch 1 and will serve as an origin story for the character. Alicia, buy or sell a new Fletch with Jason Sudeikis?
Yeah, I sell. I'm just not that interested in seeing more from Fletch, although I think that Jason Sudeikis is a good choice for that character. But I don't really care about seeing an origin story for Fletch. And Gregory MacDonald, the author of the books, I know he was heavily involved in the casting of the original movies, said no to Burt Reynolds, said no to Mick Jagger, but approved Chevy Chase. He's now passed on, so I wonder what he would think of this. But Fletch has been in the works for so long. I remember at one point Kevin Smith was thinking about doing a Fletch movie. And they might take it in a different direction. Warner Brothers was looking more of a grittier tone, which I can't even imagine. So I sell. I'm just not that keen.
I am a big buy. I'm a big enthusiast. I really like the original Fletch and the way Chevy Chase played it. And if you're going to redo it today, I think that character is just such an inherently funny character. Now, a lot of that was because of what Fletch brought to it. But I think Jason Sudeikis is the right guy to step in. Now, I'm sure there will be other right guys too, but Jason Sudeikis is definitely one of those guys. I'm a big fan of his. And, his love life is really good too. That a lot of men are very envious of. But yeah, no, he's a great talent, and Olivia Wilde, I'm sure, is very lucky too. So yeah, for me, it's a big buy.
I'm in the middle of you guys, but I will buy it just because of Jason Sudeikis. The original Fletch, I know people love it. Maybe it's because I watched it when I was younger. Maybe I didn't get it. Maybe I have to revisit it, but I just never got into it. And people have like this cult-like love for it. But with Jason Sudeikis, I loved him in We're the Millers, and I even liked him in Horrible Bosses 2, which I liked more than I think most people because I liked it more than the first one.
Right.
And you really loved the first one.
I really liked the first one more than the second one. Yeah. All right, what's next?
Reports have emerged that Kick-Ass, Kingsman: The Secret Service, and X-Men First Class director Matthew Vaughn is in talks to direct a Flash Gordon remake for 20th Century Fox. The script for the film comes from Star Trek III's writing team of J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay. John, would you buy or sell a Flash Gordon remake directed by Matthew Vaughn?
There's nothing about the idea of a Flash Gordon remake that I think is a good idea. It's a very influential property that has influenced a lot of stuff, but the style of which, the type of characters they are, it's just not something that would work today. I don't feel a big hunger out there for people wanting to see another Flash Gordon. And then you say Matthew Vaughn's going to direct it. Done. Well, that settles it. It's a buy. Matthew Vaughn takes these weird kind of properties and turns them into something infinitely watchable. So while I, before this, didn't have any interest in a Flash Gordon, you suddenly say Matthew Vaughn's directing, then it's going to be good. I buy. Alicia?
Buy because of Matthew Vaughn. I will now watch anything Matthew Vaughn does. And I was a fan of his from like Layer Cake, but then what he's done so far with comic book based movies, Kick-Ass, Kingsman, X-Men First Class. They're all really fun, interesting, visceral films. And I'm not too aware of the comics, and I liked the 80s movie just for the kitschy point of view and the song Flash. It's so good. But Matthew Vaughn, I think he is just one of the best directors out there right now.
I buy it as well. Just same reason. Matthew Vaughn, great director. Visually, he's going to be able to pull this off. And we talked about this on our special AMA video that we did in Vegas about how, you know, maybe he could possibly direct a Star Wars movie or a Star Wars spin-off movie later on, and this would be a great, like, I don't know, piece for him to audition himself. And Flash Gordon is one of those things where I remember it as a kid and I liked it, I enjoyed it. I just don't have the reverence for it that other people do. And when they kind of referenced it a lot in the first Ted movie, like I think those for me kind of fell flat, the jokes, because I didn't have that love for it that other people did.
All right, folks, we reached that part of the show for Mailbag. Listen, if you've got a topic or a question you'd like us to address on the show, you can email us anytime at amcmovietalk@gmail.com. Maybe you'll see your question here on Movie Talk. Maybe you'll see it on one of our weekend Mailbag shows. So let's get to it. Sinead, what do we got?
Bobby writes, "Hey guys, thanks for being the fountain of knowledge of all things movies. I heard your comments about Brandon Routh and how Superman Returns may have hurt his career. Do you think the same might happen to Andrew Garfield? I think he's a talented actor and was great as Spider-Man regardless of the movie. Also, like John, I loved his performance in The Social Network."
Well, don't worry about Andrew Garfield. I don't think Spider-Man is hurting Andrew Garfield at all. I think Andrew Garfield is a victim of a situation of wrong place at the wrong time. I thought the first Amazing Spider-Man with Garfield was great. I thought Garfield was a very good Peter Parker and a very good Spider-Man. I think he captured a lot of the spirit and the essence of the character. And whatever things were wrong with the Amazing Spider-Man 2, Andrew Garfield wasn't one of those problems. The way he portrayed it wasn't it. It was in the script, and it was in all that kind of stuff. Now, as far as, hey, where is he? He's doing a little film right now with a little director you may have heard of by the name of Martin Scorsese. It's called Silence. And so that's coming out. And then he's got another movie coming out after that with director Mel Gibson called Hacksaw Ridge. And regardless of anything you think about Mel Gibson, which you're totally entitled to whatever opinion you have about him, the dude can direct. So he's going to be just fine. Now, in this movie Silence, he's doing it with Liam Neeson, Adam Driver, he's going to be in that with. They're playing Jesuit priests who go on, I think to China or
Japan.
Japan to try to find one of their missing comrades or whatever. It sounds amazing with Scorsese's directing. Andrew Garfield is going to be just fine. Don't you worry about him. Anyway, Dennis, should we be worried about Andrew Garfield?
No, because the difference between him and Brandon Routh is he has a track record before. I mean,
good point.
Like, everyone knows him from Social Network. He got great reviews for his performance. He didn't get an Oscar nomination, but you know, we've talked about that before, that he definitely should have been considered. Yeah, and with Amazing Spider-Man, he also had the first movie first, and the second one, while not as well received as the first one, it wasn't, at least to me, as big as a flop than Superman Returns. Not financially, but in terms of like the reception that fans got from it. And Brandon Routh just didn't have anything before that, and so everyone just thinks of him as Superman from Superman Returns.
Right. Once Superman Returns didn't quite work for him, there was nothing else left for him to be left standing on.
Yeah.
Good point. Alicia.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing, that Andrew Garfield had proven himself before the role, not just Social Network, but also Never Let Me Go and Lions for Lambs. He had a small role in that. I did feel kind of bad for him when the Spider-Man situation went down, because that was his dream role. But as you said, it wasn't his fault, and he's doing Silence and then the movie with Mel Gibson, so he will be fine.
All right, what's next?
Hamza writes, "Hi guys, I was just wondering why Warner Brothers and Michelle McLaren parting ways is so much more catastrophic than the Marvel Edgar Wright incident."
Well, I don't know that it is catastrophic. I mean, right from the beginning, you know, everybody knows I was really not happy about the news, but a lot of people misinterpreted me being not happy with saying, but you know, John, don't you think it's a good thing if they know there's a problem that they should let her go? Well, absolutely. If there was a big disconnect, and apparently from all reports, it was a massive disconnect between her and the studio. Like, the words I'm hearing were they agreed on nothing. And so, yeah, when you come into a situation like that, you do need to move on. You got to make the right move. And, oh, heavens, why am I forgetting the name of the director they just picked up?
Patty Jenkins?
Yes. So they went out and got somebody who is really great. And I think it's going to turn out wonderful. The problem I had, and here's the big difference, with the Edgar Wright situation with Marvel, that was a situation that evolved over the course of about 5 years. Like, Marvel loved Edgar Wright's idea for Ant-Man, but the problem is, after years pass, the Marvel Cinematic Universe evolved to the point where that Ant-Man that Edgar Wright had doesn't fit in anymore with this Marvel Cinematic Universe. When they first came up with Ant-Man, they didn't know they were going to have Avengers Age of Ultron immediately followed by, Captain America Civil War. And where's the Marvel Cinematic Universe going to be then? How does this fit in between those films? That was a different context. And it just was a fact that that movie that Edgar Wright wanted to make no longer fit with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And after the period of 5 years, they went their separate ways. With this situation, though, they just brought this director on 5 months ago. And the big question I have, the red flag for me is, what are the people at Warner Brothers doing? Like, how bad are you at your job? If it's your job to pick your director, that just 5 months ago, you interviewed her, you went through all the things about the movie, I hope you sat down and thought and talked about your vision for the movie and her vision of the movie, and you think that they came out of those meetings saying, yeah, we're on the same page, and just 5 months later, you don't agree on anything? You're on totally separate universes to the point that you got to part ways? Like, my concern is that Warner Brothers has something wrong with their process. They have the wrong people in place picking their directors, clearly, because if you go from 0 to 60 in just 5 months, I think there's a problem there. That's not to say they didn't do the right thing right now. Absolutely. If you're in a disconnect and things aren't working between you and your director, you got to let the director go. It was the right move. My concern is what happened 5 months ago, and why was this an issue in the first place? Anyway, that's how I saw it. I might be overreacting to it. Admittedly, I might be, but I really see that as a problem. But Alicia, you saw this. How did you evaluate it?
Well, I'm really excited about Patty Jenkins coming on board, and I think it's always a good thing if a director soon into a project decides it's not for them, and then they decide to leave, and then they can find someone else and get moving. And they have to get moving with Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
It's happening soon. But it must be such a tricky thing for these directors within these universes, like Edgar Wright. He's someone who wants to have his own creative stamp on a movie, and it's hard to do that when you have to fit in with so many other movies and so many other styles from other directors. I was talking to Joss Whedon about this too. I mean, he does a great job with it, and we'll talk more about Avengers Age of Ultron when we can. But I think as a director, you must want to make your own vision, and this is my baby and this is my little movie. You can't with these movies because you have to make them work within the wider universe. So I'm excited about Patty Jenkins, so I want to see more of what she can do, because Monster was a while ago.
Dennis?
Yeah, I also wouldn't call it catastrophic either, because we have to remember most of the general audience doesn't know or even care who's directing the movie. So, while I love Michelle McLaren and Edgar Wright, most of the fans are like, they just want to see the movie. So I don't think that's a big deal. And then also with Marvel, like you said, with the process being much longer with Ant-Man, so that's more understandable if they decide to split ways.
Yeah, that was a situation where it was nobody's fault.
Yeah. And also, we have to talk about track record. Marvel just has right now with their universe a better track record because it's longer and more consistent. I mean, people will argue about the quality of each individual movie, but in general, most of them are well received. Where WB, they're starting a brand new universe, and they only have one movie out, which is Man of Steel. They're going to have the Batman v Superman. And Wonder Woman is supposed to be a big cornerstone of this whole universe. And just to start out the gate like this, it is a little worrisome. But I don't think it'll be a big problem in the end.
All right, folks, listen, we also love to take your questions via Twitter. So hop on Twitter and tweet a question to us and just include the hashtag AMC Movie Talk. That way we can see it. Once again, hop on Twitter, tweet out your question with the hashtag AMC Movie Talk, and maybe you'll see your tweet on our show. So, Sinead, what tweets do we have today?
At M_9 tweets, I was more than excited to watch Ex Machina this past weekend. Why do you feel that it was such a limited release, nowhere in Florida?
I think this happens a lot with a lot of more artistic films and these smaller films, is that the people who release the films are just saying, is this going to get a huge audience? And if they don't think it is, even no matter how good it is, if they don't think they can market in such a way that it will draw out a huge audience, then they'll put it in a smaller release. Then hopefully what happens sometimes is that they put it out in a small release, people go to it in droves, and then they go, well, let's make a wider release. And the following week, they expand it to more theaters. That's what you hope to see happen. So it's not always about, is the movie good enough to be in more theaters? The real question for the money people is, will it get a big enough audience to justify putting it in more theaters? And that's always the bigger question. Alicia, you saw the film.
I love it.
You loved, actually, and I know Christian Harloff I think he called it his favorite film of the year so
Yeah.
far.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, your thoughts on this whole type of situation?
Well, it costs a lot of money to get a movie into theaters. I
Yeah.
don't think many people know that. So when it comes to a smaller film like Ex Machina, which is independently made and it's got a small distributor attached, they want to test the waters, like you said. So limited release, but it's opening wider this weekend. And it's gotten great reviews, great reaction from people who've seen it so far. So I really hope that it gets an even wider release so people can see it, because it's such a well-made sci-fi movie, and it shows that you don't need a huge budget or lots of different locations or big cast or huge special effects to make it work. If there's a great story there and great characters, then it's enthralling. And the production design and everything, I can't stop raving about this movie.
Should they be trumpeting the Star Wars connection a little bit more?
They should.
Like in their marketing, shouldn't they be
Oscar
saying?
and Donal.
Yeah, saying, hey, from stars of the upcoming Star Wars film,
Yeah,
what?
so like before you see them in Star Wars,
Yeah.
see them in Ex Machina, because they did this movie before Star Wars. So, and they play off each other really well, those two.
Dennis.
I haven't seen it yet, but it's like on the top of my list. But we've been pretty busy here at AMC,
Yes, we
so
have.
so I haven't had a chance to see it. I always wonder about those. I mean, yeah, it's always a risk with the smaller movies. They don't know, like, especially it costs money to distribute it, costs money to market. I don't know. I've seen movies before. I think, oh man, there's gonna be tons of people. Like, I remember when Moon came out with Sam Rockwell. I'm like, this is fantastic. Everybody should see it. So it was one of my favorite movies of
Yes.
that year. And it had a very limited release, and not many people saw it. I remember seeing Raid 2 just last year. I went in there was like 2 other people in the theater.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, this movie's awesome, but, no one's ever heard of it. So it's always a risk, and I think that's why.
All right, what's next?
At Josh Vance 830 tweets, what movie character would you want to be with you during the zombie apocalypse? Mine is John Wick because of the headshots.
Which is a great pick, because like
Yeah.
gung fu is nothing to mess around with and very handy when you're dealing with the zombie apocalypse. I'm gonna go with a really cheating answer, very easy answer: Superman. I want Superman on my side. Why? Because the zombies can't break his skin with their bite. I never have to worry about turning to Superman and say, "Hey, Soups, how we doing?" and seeing him drooling with his eyes bugged out. He can't catch the virus. He's Superman. Then he'll just heat vision all their heads off, and then we'll go and have pina coladas. So I would go Superman. Dennis?
Is it being who we want to be or be with us?
I think be with us.
Yeah.
Huh?
Be
We
with
with
us.
you.
Okay. Yeah, I mean Superman or Thor, just cause they can
yeah.
because they can fly away. You're like, oh no, I need help. They come swoop down, grab you, and then they can take you up, and then you can be like, oh look, there's a bunch of hot girls over there that need saving. Go down, save them for me.
And
Alicia?
then repopulate
Yes.
the planet.
Then repopulate.
There's lots of Dennises
Yes.
running around.
Damn it, Dennis.
Damn it, Dennis. I never thought I would say this, but I would like Colin Firth with me, because after seeing that scene from Kingsman where he's in the
Oh,
church
yes.
going nuts, like if you could somehow get that character and then get that device that made him go crazy and then let him loose on the zombies, I think he can't be stopped. He was just going, like using everything as a weapon, and it was awesome.
Sinead, let's ask you, if you had to be in a zombie apocalypse war zone and you could have one movie character with you, who would you want with you?
Well, considering that I probably don't have much faith for myself in a zombie apocalypse, I would go with Captain America because he's
Oh.
super hot and total eye candy. And I feel like he is probably like super strong, and so he could just hold me really tightly in his arms, and then we would.
This
die
conversation
together.
is going in a totally
Are you
different
sure?
direction.
Are you sure you don't want to bring Ashley Mova? Because I have a feeling she would kick some ass.
She goes,
Yeah. Just tell them
Can
the
be
zombies
tough.
stole her iPad.
yeah.
All right, last one.
At Pooh19752 tweets, if you were only able to watch one, which one would you choose? Batman v Superman or Captain America Civil War?
Ooh.
This question has been asked a few times, and I thought, okay, well, even though people keep asking, with the Batman versus Superman trailer just dropping, my answer has not changed. Batman versus Superman. Look, I think there's a very, very strong chance that Captain America Winter Soldier or Captain America Civil War could probably end up being the better movie. No doubt, that's fine. But Batman versus Superman is a movie I've been waiting most of my life for. Ever since The Dark Knight Returns was published. That's what we need to see. We need to see Batman versus Superman. That's what everybody's wanted to see. So while, I'm not saying which one will be the better film, it's probably going to be Captain America. Civil War will be the better film, probably. But if I had to pick just one, this is the one. Now, I know what you two are thinking. Yeah, but John, if you had to pick just one, that one or Star Wars, which one do you pick?
Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
It's because of Star Wars. But I mean, between these two, it's got to be Batman versus Superman. Dennis?
Same answer as well. It's something we haven't seen before. With Captain America 3, I know the storyline from the comic book series, and it's a very interesting storyline. But Batman v Superman is something we want to see for so long, and yeah, I think it's gonna be. It might not be the better movie, but I think visually, I think it's gonna be fantastic.
Alicia?
I'm also going Batman versus Superman because, like I said before with the trailer, I don't know what I'm in for. And I'm intrigued by it. I don't know this concept. I haven't read those comics, but I want to see what happens. I want to see how Zack Snyder sets up this future world with Justice League. And I want to see Ben Affleck as Batman. And it's just something I can't imagine yet. So that's why I want to see that one.
I remember in the first Avengers, everyone went crazy over when Thor fought the Hulk?
Yes.
Yeah.
Think of Batman versus Superman as 100 times more than that.
Yeah. Especially with Batman
Yeah.
saying,
Bleed.
do you bleed? Oh my gosh, that's so good. I'm getting excited just thinking about it.
Does he bleed?
Oh, he bleeds.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah, he can bleed. It takes a lot to make him bleed, though, but he'll bleed.
Interesting.
All right, folks, that'll do it for us for this installment of AMC Movie Talk. Thank you so much for joining us. Listen, don't forget, lots of great films playing at AMC Theaters right now. Head on over to www.amctheaters.com for all of your theater, showtime, and, of course, your movie ticket information. If you want an audio-only version of this episode, look in the description of this video, and you'll find a link to our podcast feed. And don't forget to click the thumbs up button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. I want to thank the people sitting at the table with me, starting on my left, Mr. Dennis Zen. Dennis, where can people find you online?
You guys can find me on Twitter at ThinkHero, on Instagram, Dennis.tzng.
Right over here, Miss Alicia Malone. Alicia, where can people find you?
You can find me Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at Alicia Malone. And don't forget to watch AMC Rewind. New episode today.
And our lovely host, Sinead DeFries. Sinead, where can people find you?
I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Sinead DeFries and at thatsosinead.com.
And you can find me on the various social media networks, just at Facebook and on Twitter, at John Campia. Dennis and I have to leave. We literally just got our call to go and meet with Paul Rudd and Michael Douglas. So we're going to go do that right now. So that'll do it for us for this installment of AMC Movie Talk. Thanks a lot for joining us, guys. And until next time, bye-bye.